Trump's sovereign wealth fund is not a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Bitcoiners, we need to talk. Today, President Donald Trump signed an executive order creating a United States sovereign wealth fund. Immediately, Bitcoiners went on Twitter and X, I'm sorry, they went on to Twitter X Twitter, and they went wild with speculation. People saying that this is the beginning of the strategic Bitcoin reserve, that the government is about to stack sats and solidify Bitcoin as a reserve asset. Let me be very clear. This is not that. A sovereign wealth fund, or SWF, and a strategic Bitcoin reserve, SBR, are two entirely different things. One is a government-controlled, market-manipulated investment vehicle, and the other is a Bitcoin treasury strategy. And if you think an SWF is good for Bitcoin, you need to rethink your position. A sovereign wealth fund is a state-owned investment vehicle. It is governments create these to manage national wealth, and what they really do is intervene in the market. They prop up failing industries, reward politically connected corporations. Examples of an SWF include Norway's oil fund, created from oil revenues but subject to government mismanagement. Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, a tool for economic control and the consolidation of state power, and China's CIC, used to strategically buy assets and exert influence globally. These funds do not operate under a free market setup or principles. They are controlled by bureaucrats and politicians, and they exist to distort the economy. And now Trump has created one for the United States. Bitcoiners should be alarmed, not excited. Sovereign wealth funds create massive moral hazards. Moral hazard happens when people or corporations take excessive risks because they know the government will bail them out. Let's say a failing corporation is about to go bankrupt. In a free market, the company dies. The assets get reallocated. Its competitors move in. The economy moves forward. But with sovereign wealth funds, the government can step in, buy up shares, and keep that company alive, no matter how inefficient or reckless it is. It's not capitalism. It's corporate welfare. And it gets worse. Politicians will reward their donors by directing SWF investments to politically favored companies. Major industries will lobby for subsidies instead of improving their business models. This distorts competition, encourages corruption, and creates government dependency. Bitcoin fixes this because Bitcoin removes the state's ability to manipulate money. But a sovereign wealth fund, that's just another tool for intervention and market distortion. Bitcoin 2023 right here. Separate money from state. It's right there, buddy. Separate money from state. That's what we're supposed to be doing here. Let's be clear about a strategic Bitcoin reserve would actually mean. A strategic Bitcoin reserve would be when a government directly allocates a portion of its national treasury into Bitcoin, similar to how a nation historically held gold as a monetary reserve. An SBR would be a bet on Bitcoin as a global monetary base. It would hedge against fiat collapse and hyperinflation, and it would be a signal that a nation is serious about economic sovereignty. That's not what a sovereign wealth fund is. It's not the same thing. A U.S. sovereign wealth fund will not buy Bitcoin as a reserve asset. Instead, it will buy stocks, bonds, real estate, government-backed assets to prop up politically connected industries. It'll be used for corporate bailouts, debt financing, market manipulation. Bitcoin, you should be fighting for a hard money standard, not another government-controlled investment vehicle. Separate money from state. Don't celebrate this. Call it for what it is. Government intervention disguised as fiscal management. The real fight for a Bitcoin standard is not a government wealth fund. Stay vigilant, stay sovereign, and don't let the state trick you into thinking they're suddenly Bitcoin friendly. You might say to me, well, Trump wouldn't do that, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Let's lie to each other and say that Trump, his administration won't do that. You're going to tell me the next administration won't do that, and the next administration, the next administration. Where there is the potential for corruption, there will be corruption. And I will quote my boy, Lysander Spooner, Uncle Spooner, right here, very famously said, whether the Constitution be one thing or another, this much is certain, that it is either authorized such a government as we have had, or has been powerless to prevent it. And that is the truth. So either the Constitution will allow this thing to happen, it'll go into existence, and it'll be used for the wrong reasons, because the Constitution can't stop it. There's nothing it can do. It wasn't written correctly in this kind of a sense to stop this kind of corruption. It has to be enforced, but it needs people to enforce it, because that's the problem, and that becomes the debate about the state. But this is not a Bitcoin reserve. Get that out of your head. Not the same thing. I'm not even here arguing that the Bitcoin reserve should happen. That's a whole other argument. But these are two separate things. Let's look at reality. Let's understand what's going on. You have to continue your financial and economic understanding of the world beyond just what you read once in one of the books, right? You just read Mastering Bitcoin or Broken Money and you stopped. Or you read the Blockchain Revolution, or you read The Price of Tomorrow or the Bitcoin Standard and you stopped. There's more to economics than that, including understanding that a sovereign wealth fund is not a positive necessarily for Bitcoin. It's not a guarantee of anything. It's a guarantee of one thing, though. It's a guarantee of state overreach and state corruption and crony capitalism and corporatism that will eventually happen because this thing exists. Stay safe, stay sovereign, buy and buy Bitcoin.